In and out day here. It's hard to describe just what the weather is and what it will be. We've had rain, then we've had a hailstorm, then it got pitch black, then the sun burst through the clouds, and we had a gorgeous 15-20 minutes. We now have a lot of dark clouds, but a big patch of blue off to the right in the west. The wind, which really played havoc last night, aided the Giants in their tie, a 2-run home run that was otherwise a fly ball. The wind is with us again today and blowing lustily from right to left. So imagine Albert Pujols and a few others having a chance to get the ball up into that jet stream. Right now we have sunshine, a sellout crowd predicted. The tickets have been sold. It's just a question of how many people will be discouraged because they're talking about a storm coming maybe at 3 o'clock. So we'll see. That gives us a good 2 hours to play ball. Talking about playing ball, let's take a look at the lineups now for both teams. First of all, for the visiting Angels, they are 9-6 in the spring. And they start off with Alexi Amarista at second base, Cole Calhoun in left field, and Albert Pujols at first. Mark Trumbo has moved over to third base because of Pujols. Hank Conger behind the plate. Then you have Ryan Longerhans in right field, Andrew Romine at short, Matt Long in center, and Dan Herron on the mound. For the Dodgers, with a record of 8-4, a lot of ties, they'll send their left-hander Chris Capuano out to the mound. Capuano with a record of 11-12, and for the Dodgers, back of him, he'll have an infield with Adam Kennedy playing at first base, and then Mark Ellis, D. Gordon, and Juan Uribe. In the outfield for the Dodgers, Tony Gwynn. Then you have Matt Angle in center field, and Trent Olson, who had a pinch hit double last night, in right. So the teams are set, and we're about ready to get this one underway. The Dodgers and the Angels. For Chris Capuano, he's a fellow with, among other things, 2 Tommy John surgeries behind him. He had one in 2002 and another in 2008. He also has a terrific move to first. You may remember, I certainly do, when he was with the Brewers, if you were a runner at first base, you had to be very careful. In fact, a few years ago, he led the league. He had 12 pickoffs. So I'm sure he'll be working on all parts of his game today. He grew up in Massachusetts and was a Red Sox fan and especially idolized Roger Clemens. In fact, they say Chris's room as a kid back in Massachusetts, one wall was covered with pictures of Roger Clemens. His dad played baseball, not professionally. He played college ball in Massachusetts. Also tried to hook up with the Seattle Pilots, but that didn't work, and he went into finance instead. But Chris, a smart fella, he graduated from Duke University with an economics degree. So here we go, first pitch of the day, and it's a strike to Alexi Amarista. And the count, no balls and 1 strike. The Angels last year in second place finished 10 games back of Texas. They did win 86 games. Chopper to the right side. Mark Ellis is there, gets it over to Kennedy in time, and just like that, one away. So Capuano gets a first out, and now he'll look at Cole Calhoun. Cole Calhoun playing left field for the Angels today. He's from Arizona. He's from Buckeye, Arizona, non-roster player. Went to Buckeye High School and Arizona State. Started his professional career in 2010. He was the player of the year for the Angels last year. And ball 1. Last year playing in the Inland Empire, 22 home runs, 99 runs batted in, and hit a very solid .324. Tries to time a breaking ball, fouls it away. So Chris Capuano airing it out here. Just the start of the ball game. The Dodgers and the Angels. The Angels would certainly appear to have a solid offensive team, that's for sure. The Angels picking up Albert Pujols, and all things have changed. But they had a pretty good ball club last year. They had their 7th straight winning season in the last 8. The pitch up and in. Mike Scioscia's first 2 years as a manager, bit of a struggle, but ever since they've moved along nicely. Job open behind the plate. They traded away Mike Napoli, so they went out and got Chris Iannetta from Colorado. Meanwhile, the young outfielder Cole Calhoun with a line drive single, and now great stirring in the crowd as they announce the name Albert Pujols. The amazing Mr. Pujols, the only player in Major League history to hit 30 or more home runs in each of his first 11 years. His slugging percentage is .617. That puts him up there with Babe Ruth, Ted Williams, and Lou Gehrig. And there's the Capuano move over to first. Keep an eye on that today for sure. Pujols has never had a regular season at bat at Angel Stadium in his 11 years. So it will be quite a sight for him and for all of the fans when he checks in. Albert's had a good spring up to here. No surprise there. He holds up on a high strike. Pujols begins the game hitting .455. He has 4 doubles, 23 total bases, 3 home runs, and 9 runs batted in. Same old Pujols. Albert signing that huge contract, and Capuano works at the ankles. Pujols is 32 years old. Celebrated a birthday January the 16th. Pujols is one of those superbly talented people who is also extremely popular. The Angels not only welcomed him to the clubhouse, and of course we always heard those reports when he was with the St. Louis Cardinals, and the same feeling now, tremendous respect and admiration. He's just a very popular, solid player. You might call Pujols an old soul. He was married pretty young, married a girl a little bit older who had a child, and the child victimized with Down syndrome. Albert married her, raised the child, and is very much involved in Down syndrome operations, charities. He's quite a man. And good or bad, didn't get that sinker. So Capuano breaks off a dandy, and Pujols waiting. And of course, as a kid, remember you heard the old cry, only takes one. And of course, with Pujols, how true that is. Capuano with that good move. So for someone like Calhoun over there at first, has never played against Capuano, but I'm sure the Angel organization know all about Capuano and his move. Nice save behind the plate by A.J. Ellis on a pitch in the dirt. And the count now goes all the way. So this is another dangerous moment for Calhoun. If he's going 3-2, he had best be careful not to break prematurely, or Capuano will hang him out to dry. He's holding, doesn't go, and a line foul. That's another occupational hazard, especially if you're coaching at third. And with Albert Pujols, it's best not to be in the coaching box. Dino Estelle was there, and Abel just had to whirl to make sure that Echo didn't nail him. So now Dino is well out of the box. He is certainly closer to the Dodger dugout than he is to third base, and I don't blame him. And that's probably whacked into left field. Same old Pujols. A long single. Calhoun on his way to third, and with the ball dropped by Gordon into second base goes Pujols. So Albert, a line drive single to left, sending Calhoun to third, and as the cutoff man, Gordon dropped the throw, so he'll probably be given an error because Pujols appeared to be very content in staying at first base. So second and third, one out, and Mark Trumbo coming up. Trumbo, of course, put up some big numbers last year. Trumbo, who was born in Anaheim, born to play for the Angels, and takes ball one. With the Angels last year, Trumbo had 29 home runs, 87 runs batted in after tearing up Salt Lake City the year before. However, the big deal with Pujols and the Angels have asked Trumbo to move over to play third. Wearing that number 44, which brings to mind some great hitters like Henry Aaron and Willie McCovey. Trumbo in the spring hitting .333. He has 2 home runs, 7 runs batted in. Second and third, one out, first inning, no score. Capuano's pitch hit in the air to center. Right there is angle to make the catch. Tagging up and coming in is Calhoun. And the Angels are on the board to lead 1-0. And Trumbo picks up the run batted in. Dodgers defeated the Angels in Tempe 9-1 in their only meeting. Not that there's anything important about a victory in the spring, but the Angels certainly wouldn't mind returning the favor. Last night, the Dodgers were behind in the first inning 2-0 and eventually wound up in a 3-3 tie. Hank Conger, who will be the backup catcher for Chris Iannetta, Mike Napoli having moved on to Texas. And a little breaking ball is in there for a strike, and the count 0-1. Conger isn't doing a fine spring, hitting .321. Hank from the state of Washington. He was with the Angels and Salt Lake last year. Didn't hit much in the big leagues. Hit only .209. Chris Iannetta is not a good average hitter, but he has power, and he should be a little bit of a better offensive catcher than they had once Napoli left. Jeff Mathis, a fine defensive catcher, but couldn't hit very much. So Iannetta figures to be backed up by Conger. High fastball, down he goes. However, Capuano gives up a couple of base hits and a line drive that picked up the runner from third. And at the end of half an inning, Angels won. Dodgers coming up. Gets a base hit and sets up a run, and the Angels take a 1-0 lead in the bottom of the first inning. For the Dodgers, we'll take a quick look at the lineup, or if you're keeping score, doing a little spring training yourself, D. Gordon will lead it off. The Dodgers shortstop will be followed by Mark Ellis at second base, and then Tony Gwynn in left field batting third. That's a strike to Gordon. On the mound, 16-game winner last year for the Angels, Dan Herron. Herron, who was born in West Covina, lives in Irvine, gets a strike to Gordon. Herron last year 16-10. Dan's a big boy, 6'5" and about 220. A little ground ball to short, charging it is Romine to make the play, and that will do it for Gordon. So 1 up, 1 away. And the batter will be Mark Ellis, the Dodgers second baseman. Dan Herron, during his career, also won 16 games for the Diamondbacks 4 years ago. 3 times in his career he's won 14 games. 1 year 15. And a strike. He started off originally being signed by the Cardinals out of Pepperdine, where he went to school as a hitter. He never even thought about being a pitcher. Foul back. Dan can really swing the bat. And at Pepperdine, the only reason he became a pitcher, they ran out of pitchers. And the next thing you know, they had a star. He was a second-team All-American, but as a utility player. Whoa. Driving Ellis out of the box. Dan had 1 year with the Cardinals in 03 and another brief year in 04. That's in the dirt. Then he had 3 years with the A's, 3 years with the Diamondbacks, and this will be his 3rd year with the Angels. Mark Ellis knows all about playing with the A's. Ellis feels he has found a home with the Dodgers, signing a 2-year deal, and promptly hits it foul down the line. 2-year deal with a club option for 2014, so Mark's going to be around a while. Played most of his first 9 years with the Oakland A's. He's 34 years old. Then struggled last year. He was hitting .217 for Oakland, but when he went over to Colorado for 70 games, he hit .274. That misses. Of course, when you talk to Ellis about why he struggled so much with Oakland, you can understand. He had a strained hamstring. He also had an ear infection. Originally selected by Kansas City, and he pops it in the air. Pujols is at the other end of it. Albert puts it away. So Gordon grounds out, Ellis fouls out, and Tony Gwynn coming up. For Dan Herron, his last game against his old club, Arizona, he struck out 7 and struck out 4 consecutive. So he was very sharp, and he continues to be a solid fixture in the rotation for Mike Sosa. Tony Gwynn has a look at a pitch off the plate. 1 ball and no strikes. Gwynn hitting .333 in the spring. Little roller to Amarista, and that'll be that. So Herron continues the fine work he showed against Arizona with a tough, easy first inning. Tough on the Dodgers, easy for him. 1-0 in favor of the Angels. the Angels. We go to the second inning. For the Angels, Ryan Longerhans, followed by Andy Romine and Matt Long. And the second inning for Chris Capuano. So Longerhans, who's been around, we've seen him play left-hand batter, and Capuano ready to go to work on him. Right now we're okay as far as the weather is concerned. We have bright sunlight, a lot of threatening clouds, but we've had them all day. Off the plate on a check swing, however, it's Clint Fagan on the third base foul line calling strike, and the count 0-1. Ryan waiting, and Capuano coming back at him, and a sinking fastball inside. Ryan Longerhans has been playing pro since 1998. Had a few years with Washington, Seattle. Wind swirling a little dust up and around home plate. 1-2 the count. If you joined us a little late, with one out, Calhoun singled, Pujols singled him to third, and he scored on a fly ball to center. So Longerhans still up there with 2 strikes. Longerhans playing in right field, then followed by the shortstop and the center fielder. Holds up nicely on a pitch. For Capuano, when you watch him pitch, you realize very briefly he has a fastball with a 2 and a 4-seamer, change and a cutter, and he takes care of Longerhans. So Capuano, who struck out Conger, picks up his second strikeout. And Andrew Romine coming up. Romine is from Florida. 6'1", about 190, and takes ball 1-0. Romine has been in the Angel organization for 5 years. You may remember Kevin Romine with the Boston Red Sox. That's his brother. And a fly ball to right field. Tricky because it's in the wind, but over there to pick it off is Olsen. So Romine comes from a baseball family. Brother Kevin, he also has a brother Austin in the Yankee organization. So we have 2 down. Matt Long, the center fielder, coming up. Matt's from Mountain View. That's where he was born. Lives in Los Altos. Went to Santa Clara, and a strike. 0-1. Matt Long just really starting out. 24 years old. He'll be 25 the end of April. Matt's been playing professionally since 2008. 1-0 in favor of the Angels. A comebacker to Capuano. He'll run it halfway and make the underhand toss. And that'll be that. A 1-2-3 inning for Chris Capuano. And at the end of an inning and a half, the Angels won, Dodgers nothing. Dodgers Saturday, May 19th for Dodger Stadium 50th Anniversary Fan Fest presented by State Farm. Autographs, music, live entertainment, games, and more. Gates open at noon prior to the game with the Cardinals at 7:10. Entry included with your ticket to the game. So visit Dodgers.com/50th today for tickets and more details. The former Angel and the former Cardinal and a good player in either uniform, now wearing the blue, Adam Kennedy. Take a look and see how Kennedy has played so far in the spring. Not to really indicate what the future would hold, just to see how he is doing. And he's hitting a solid 300. He has a home run and 4 runs batted in. Adam, basically a fly ball hitter. Last year, he had 7 home runs. And there's the fly ball, just as sure as you can bet on the breeze blowing today. So Kennedy flies to left, and we have 1 away in the second inning. And the batter now will be Juan Uribe. We were talking about the Giants last night, saying the Giants figure to be better with the return of Buster Posey and second baseman Freddie Sanchez and the addition of Melky Cabrera, to mention just one of many. The Dodgers are looking at Juan Uribe as a reason to improve. He had a thoroughly forgettable year last year, plagued by injuries. He has slimmed down a bit. Check swing foul, 1-1 the count. Uribe stands 5'11". Last year we know he was at least 230. He might be less than that this year. 2-1 the count. Dan Herron with that high fastball. One of the great pitches that Herron has is a splitter. One hopper. Oh, what a nice play by Mark Trumbo, but a bad throw and a good save by Albert Pujols. So Uribe crushed the ball. Trumbo, the new third baseman, made the play, and that'll bring up Trent Olson. 2 out, second inning, 1-0 in favor of the Angels. Olson came off the bench as a pinch hitter last night. Doubled into the left field corner, tried to stretch it for a triple, and was nailed at third base. Holds up on an off speed, and it's going to be a strike call. 0-1 the count to Trent. Olson, 29 years old. Last year finished up hitting just 197. He did very well stealing bases. He was 6 for 6. He's got good speed. Of course, when you're as old as Olson is now, 29, you begin to be faced with the prospect that you are running out of time. You got to get something going. Came up briefly in 2010. Came up briefly 2011. And at 29, he knows he only has a few years and he has to make something happen. Splitter missing, 1-2 the count. 2 down. We're in the bottom of the second inning, 1-0. Favor the Angels. Dodgers feeling a little bit better, but they're still plagued by a couple of injuries. Mac Derreer's had a bad back, lower back, although they say he is progressing nicely and feeling a lot better than he was feeling just a few days ago. Ivan De Jesus, however, suffered something on a swing last night in the cold, and he'll have an MRI tomorrow. And that'll do it for Olson. First strikeout of the day for Herron, who had 7 last time out. And at the end of 2, the Angels won, Dodgers nothing. So we go to the third inning here at Camelback Ranch. Good ball game, 1-0 favor the Angels. And as we move in for Chris Capuano, ready to start his third inning of work. He'll be facing Dan Herron, and Herron is not going to swing. And you're going to say, what? And I'm telling you, I will bet the house Herron will not swing the bat. In fact, if Herron swings the bat, I'll go down and pitch the next inning. Is that crazy? Well, I'll tell you why. He's a very good hitter. However, Mike Scioscia does not want his pitchers to get hurt in spring training. Herron had one at bat against Arizona, his former team, and they were shocked. He never swung the bat. They couldn't understand it, and he eventually struck out on 6 pitches. And then after the game, you found out that Scioscia would fine a pitcher in spring training if he should swing the bat. So if the crowd is wondering what in the world is a good hitter like Herron doing, he's taking. Absolutely. Herron was a DH at Pepperdine. And now what does Scioscia do but welcome his pitcher back to the dugout, safe and sound. So Herron strikes out. No one knows what the fine would be should a pitcher forget and swing. That was the safest bet I could make, knowing he was not going to swing. Okay, here's Alexei Amarista, and he'll swing. Amarista grounded out in the first inning, 0 for 1, from Venezuela. If I said Barcelona, you'd think Spain, don't you? But he's from Barcelona, Venezuela. Big bouncer, nice pick, and feed, and Capuano beats him to the bag. So a good combination play. Adam Kennedy and his pitcher Chris Capuano. And just like that, we have 2 down in the third inning, and Cole Calhoun coming up. Cole Calhoun singled sharply to left field in the first inning and came around to score the only run. Calhoun, who knows his way around here, born and raised in Arizona, went to Arizona State, and ball 1. 1 run, 2 hits for the Angels, no runs, no hits for the Dodgers. Herron has retired 6 in a row. Little cutter that stayed up. We were talking before about the various pitches that Capuano has, and he has, among other things, a great changeup. He's not the kind of a pitcher who's going to overpower you, no way, especially not after 2 Tommy John surgeries. Little sinker down and away. Capuano, 6'2", about 220. Went to Duke University. The Diamondbacks drafted him out of Duke. He was an 18-game winner with the Milwaukee Brewers. The only thing that slowed him down, the physical problems and the 2 Tommy John surgeries. Capuano's first surgery, 2002, and his rehab instructor was former Major League pitcher John Denny. Denny helped to bring him back, and they became very close pals because of that. A little slow curveball fouled away. One of the things they say about Capuano, he overworks. Famous for that. In fact, Mike Maddox, who was his pitching coach in Milwaukee, was forever cautioning Capuano, take it easy, slow down. So in order to try and calm down a little bit, Capuano took yoga to increase his flexibility, and he also got as much mental as physical from the yoga workout. Chris is also pretty interesting because he has a very active mind. When he was on the same team with Tomo Oka, Chris decided, okay, I'm going to try and learn Japanese so I can get a little bit closer to Tomo. And then, as he accumulated a lot of Hispanic teammates, he started to study Spanish. Of course, he better bear down. His wife, Sarah, working on a doctorate of physical therapy. She's deferred it for a little while at Duke to help Chris with his career. Chris Capuano. Fastball, foul. So the battle continues. Cole Calhoun and Albert Pujols on deck. One nothing in favor of the Angels. Dodgers will see the Angels for 3 games, first 3 days in April. High wind-blown fly ball into left field. Gordon going way out. A diving catch in foul ground. What a play by Tony Gwynn. And at the end of 2.5, 1-0 Angels. California Lexus dealer who invites you to test drive a luxurious Lexus today. Visit Lexus.com. And by Sports Authority, the official sporting goods retailer of the Dodgers. Bottom of the 3rd inning, gathering gloom here in Camel Ranch. The Camelback is suddenly touching some very heavy lead and gray skies. We're sure they're full of water. The weather, of course, coming from the west, and you know all about that. Meanwhile, the Dodgers not concerned about the clouds, but 6 up and 6 down against Dan Herron. A.J. Ellis, the young catcher, takes a strike, a splitter, in the count 1-2. When Herron worked his last outing against Arizona, he struck out 4 in a row at one stage. He threw about 10 splitters. He'll throw a little more today. And that's hammered to left, but out there is Cole Calhoun. And Ellis hits it hard. Line drive out. One away, and Matt Engel coming up. Matt Engel appeared in last night's game as a pinch hitter and grounded out, stayed in the game in center field. Matt is 5'10", 175. Joe's bunt, 1 ball and no strikes. Matt's out of Columbus, Ohio. Made it up briefly with Baltimore last year. Didn't play much, didn't hit much. Matthew Ryan Angle, a Buckeye, went to Ohio State University. A one-hopper at second baseman Amarista. And just like that, Dan Herron very much in control, retiring 8 in a row. And Chris Capuano coming up. Dodger pitchers are not like Angel pitchers. They take their turn at bat and they will swing the bat, as opposed to the Angel pitchers. Off speed, missed for ball 1. Well, a big swing and a miss for a guy who's had sore elbows, 2 surgeries, but he's going to have to swing the bat during the regular year. Ground ball, Albert Pujols at the other end of it. So for Dan Herron, a perfect 3 inning, 9 up, 9 down, and at the end of 3, 1-0 Angels. Albert Pujols had a base hit to set the run up at third, and the Angels hold on to a 1-0 lead. A gem for 3 innings turned in by right-hander Dan Herron, retiring 9 in a row, striking out 1. And for Chris Capuano, trying to keep pace now. You know, baseball is a marvelous sport, as you well know, and the fans of baseball are rather remarkable people. With all the bad weather and the threat of wind and rain last night, we had 13,655, the top record this spring. And then terrible talk about the game today. The high was going to be about 57, maybe 55. We had rain, torrential rain. We had hailstorms. The sky looks like it might snow here. And yet they are here. The faithful, the fans of the Dodgers and the Angels, and it's a tribute to them, their love of the game. It makes you feel very good to be a part of it. And of course, it's great to see somebody like Albert Pujols. Capuano ready to work to him. And ball 1. Pujols, a line drive single to left in the first inning. That sent Calhoun to third. And the line drive out by Mark Trumbo picked up the only run. So for Albert, his second at bat. Capuano's pitch is lifted, lost in left field by Tony Gwynn. Now he comes up to make the catch. That's why Gordon is out there in left field. because when the ball was hit up in that soupy sky, Gwynn threw his hands in the air. Where is it? And Gordon was going to race all the way out, almost got to him, and then Gwynn picked it off and made the catch. A little embarrassed, but he still made the play. All part of it. One away, and Mark Trumbo coming up. The breeze is only that. Compared to last night, this one is just a zephyr. So here is Trumbo. Hit the ball very hard, right at Matt Angle in center field. Mark 6'4", 225. A lot of power, as you know. And he lifts it to left center. Again, the wind is playing it. And once again, it's Tony Gwynn. That was a room service fly ball. It looked like it was going to go to the gap, and Angle was racing over, but it came right to Tony's room. So 2 down here in the 4th, and the batter is Hank Conger. Soon as that ball was hit, D. Gordon threw his hands in the air like an usher saying right this way, trying to help out Tony Gwynn. Yeah, D. Gordon full of energy, but also full of savvy. He knows the game. Off speed, 1-1. That's probably Capuano's best pitch, that straight change. Then follows that with a fastball in the dirt. 2-1 the count. 2 out, bases empty. We're in the 4th, a nice Sunday visit. Hope you'll spend a little bit of time with us. Won't be long before we're playing for keeps. April 5 in San Diego, April 10, Dodger Stadium. Padres suffered a blow. Carlos Quentin, whom they just received from the White Sox, and he was going to be their cleanup hitter, and certainly they needed some offense. Another fly ball into right field. This time Olchin is there, and that's the inning. Well, anyway, Quentin with a bad knee had surgery, and he'll probably miss the first month of the season, and that will certainly hope and hurt the Padres. At the end of 3.5, 1-0 Angels. In favor of the Angels. Albert Pujols went 1 for 2 today. Pujols comes out. Efraim Navarro will take over at first base. That would be the only change. Yep, it's a hand-blowing day here. And a bunt slapped foul up along third by Gordon, and the count 0-1. We're not televising or broadcasting tomorrow, but tomorrow is a rather interesting anniversary for the Dodgers. Drive to right on the horse is Langerhans at the wall and makes a nice play for the out. So Gordon a long out to right, 1 away. It was back in 1966, and the Dodgers played their first game in baseball history on artificial turf. They were playing an exhibition game against the Astros in the Astrodome. Both teams flew in from their spring training bases in Florida, played a little two-game series in Houston. That's a strike to Ellis, 0-1. The Astrodome opened in 1965 with a conventional grass field, but fielders lost balls in the glare of the glass panels in the roof. The glass had to be painted, and when they painted the roof, that killed the grass. So the artificial surface, called AstroTurf, manufactured by Monsanto, was installed, and the Dodgers and the Astros played the first game ever on it. Ellis, meanwhile, comes up empty as Herron picks up his second strikeout. Herron has now retired 11 in a row. So he's been brilliant. And here's Tony Gwynn trying to find the ball in the outfield, now trying to find the ball in home plate. Meanwhile, the lights have been turned on. And a strike, 0-1. We were talking about history, and last night, March the 17th, not only St. Patrick's Day, but back in 1966 on March 17th, Sandy Koufax and Don Drysdale signed movie contracts. That's when they were in that joint holdout. They signed to appear in a movie called Warning Shot, starring David Jansen. When the dust settled and the teams, they were holding out for $1 million and a 3-year deal. But finally it settled down. Koufax signed for 120, Drysdale for 100, and that was the end of the story. But can you imagine? Koufax at 120,000, Drysdale at 100. That's the way it was, but of course that's 46 years ago. One nothing Angels, 2 out here in the 4th inning. Of course, they give you another idea of how times have changed. When I started, the Major League rookie salary the first year was $5,000. If you're a rookie player this year, the starting salary is $480,000. Oh boy, another strike 3. So Herron has been brilliant. What else can you say? He's retired 12 in a row, but it's just the spring, but it's a great effort, and he leads 1-0. KCAL 9, brought to you by Carl's Jr. $6 Burgers, made with 100% Black Angus beef. And by the all-new Chevy Cruze Echo, available to order. Chevy runs deep. Tough ball game, 1-0 in favor of the Angels, a well-bundled-up crowd, and the Dodgers make two changes. John Graybo will take over on the mound, and out in left field, Jerry Sands will finish up for Tony Gwynn. John Graybo, another left-hander, going up against the Angels. Capuano did well, allowing just one run and a couple of hits. In fact, Capuano retired the last 3, 6, 9, 11. Herron retired 12 in a row, and I think Dan will call it a day. So the pitching has been brilliant, and that's a high strike, and the count 1 ball and 1 strike. John Graybo with Pittsburgh, and then went to the Cubs, but basically been with Pittsburgh going back to 2003. Check swing, and it's going to be a strike. John Graybo, 6'2", 205-pounder, 33 years old. John was born in Arcadia and lives over here in Chandler, Arizona. If you joined us a little late, in the first inning with 1 out, Cole Calhoun singled to left. Albert Pujols singled him to third, and Trumbo's fly ball to center picked him up, and that's the only run. After that, nothing but outs for either side. 3-2 the count. Graybo basically an average fastball, a good changeup. He throws a cutter and a slider. That's the fastball at the knees, strike 3 call. Longerhans acted like he thought the pitch was low. So that's a strikeout for a Dodger pitcher. They had a couple. Capuano had gotten Longerhans and Herron. So Andy Romine checking in, flied to right field in the second inning. Romine is the fellow with brothers, professional players. Kevin, who formerly played with the Red Sox, and his brother Austin in the Yankee organization. Andrew Romine out of Winter Haven, Florida. Lives in California, Lake Forest. 1 ball and 1 strike. One run, 2 hits for the Angels, nothing for the Dodgers. 12 in a row retired by Dan Herron. And that's going to go down the line. Fair ball. Picking it up and gunning it back in a little late is Jerry Sands. So a 1-out double by Andrew Romine breaks the streak. Side. I'll bet you see more windbreakers today than you would see in Arizona for a month. And going to third is Romine. The throw is offline, and Romine has stolen it. So with 1 out, Romine a big steal at third. And Long now with a chance to pick up the run. The Dodger infield must play up. Dan Herron is out on deck. We figured that perhaps he was through. And remember, Angel pitchers don't swing. Though it's up to Matt Long right now to get something going to pick up the run. A 1-out double by Romine, who steals third. We're in the 5th. 1-0 Angels. Herron will not swing if he indeed gets up there. However, Long swung and pays the price. So this figures, and I'm sure, I certainly would think the Dodgers are well aware that Mike Scioscia will not allow his pitchers to swing. So all Graybo has to do now is throw strikes. Yeah, Mike he figures my pitchers will only have to swing during some intra-league games during the regular year, and I don't want them risking injury. 0-1 the count to Dan Herron, who I'm sure is very frustrated. I mean, he loves to hit, and he's a very good hitter. But they have handcuffs on him. 1 ball, 1 strike. Interesting that Mike, unless Herron's going to pitch the 5th inning, it's interesting that Mike would even use him. He has someone throwing back a right field. Oh, we'll see. That's a strike. Right down the middle, and Herron's thinking to himself, oh my gosh, Mike's got me up here taking lollipops right down the middle. Just off the plate. The plate umpire, Jim Reynolds. Herron has to be laughing on the inside, though. What an experience not to be allowed to swing. See you later. Yep. So for Graybo, he comes in and strikes out the side, leaves a runner at third, and we're heading for the bottom of the 5th. 1-0 Angels. Dodgers for what's sure to be an eventful 2012 season with the largest promotional schedule ever and the lowest ticket prices in years. To guarantee your tickets to opening day and Koufax bobblehead night, purchase season tickets or select mini plans today. For more information, visit Dodgers.com/tickets. Well, there's a lot of movement going on, not necessarily on the field. Adam Kennedy up there 0-1. Crowd is moving around, icy raindrops coming down out of the heavens, and looking off to the west, it looks, in a word, terrible. Kennedy, meanwhile, chips it to left for a base hit. Let's see if he's going to go for 2, and he is, and the throw is offline coming in from Calhoun. So the Dodgers had the tying run at second base, and after Herron had retired 12 in a row, he gives up the base hit to Kennedy. So the Dodgers' first hit puts them in a slot to tie, and Uribe, Olsen, and Ellis trying to pick him up. Uribe drilled the ball his first at bat, and Mark Trumbo made a good play. Talking about good plays, Conger just made a good one, digging that out of the dirt. So now we understand, even though Mike Scioscia had somebody throwing in the pen, he let Herron, you can't say you let him swing, you just let him go up to the plate to go back out here. And there's one that's going to dunk for a base hit. Kennedy is on his way to the plate. Good throw, cut off, and the play at first in time to get Uribe trying to get back. So Juan Uribe singles to center, but a good play with the second baseman Amarista handling the throw at first, and Uribe is nailed. So a base hit, a run batted in, and an out all at once. Good play to have Amarista cutting over there behind the big first baseman Navarro. So here is Trent Olson. 0-1 the count to Trent. 1-1 tie in the fifth. Yeah, it looks awful. Directly overhead and anywhere to the west appears to be even worse than that. They had told us that we would get some rain, and we did, and we got hail a couple of hours ago, maybe 2 hours ago. And then they said we would get somewhat of a storm about 3 o'clock. Well, we got a few raindrops. It's now about 2:15. But it is threatening for a lot more. In a 1-1 tie, fifth inning. Last night we went 9 in a tie. Check swing foul. Olson struck out in the second inning. Trent 0 for 1. He'll be followed by A.J. Ellis, the catcher. Dan Herron retired 12 in a row. Struck out 3 and then gave up a double and a single. Fastball in there, so Olson for the second time caught looking. Remember, you saw, if you were with us, Tony Gwynn having a lot of trouble finding the ball in the gray sky. The lights are on, but they really don't take any effect. So if you're up there hitting right now, the pitcher has a great advantage. Believe me, it looks brighter on television than it really does in the ballpark. So they're all kind of groping for the ball. Remember when Graybill came in to pitch to the Angels, he struck out the side. Check swing and a strike. A bum check. 0-2. Well, I'll say one thing. This heavily dressed crowd in very good spirits. I mean, they decided they came to see a game and they're enjoying every minute of it, trying not to let the weather interfere. It's especially a jolt because they've had 2 weeks of temperature in the middle 80s. So over here it's Arctic right now. They said the high today was going to be about 55 to 57. Down goes Ellis, down go the Dodgers, but not before they pick up a run. And at the end of 5, a 1-1 tie. And is brought to you by your Southern California Honda dealers. Well, the weather is getting worse by the minute. A lot of the folks have decided it was a good 5 innings, but enough is enough. So the crowd starting looking not only anxiously at the sky, feeling the effects of the wind, which has picked up, and the wind appears to be the predecessor before another storm. Meanwhile, Mike McDougald will now come out of the Dodger dugout and face the Angels. So you had Capuano pitch very well for 3 innings and allow 1 run. Then John Graybow came in and struck out the side and made Capuano 4 innings. Graybow per 1, and here's McDougald. The Dodgers make a couple of changes besides McDougald. Gorman Erickson is the new catcher. Jeff Bailey is now at first base for Adam Kennedy. So McDougald going to work, and ball 1. Checking McDougald's numbers in the spring. He only worked 2 innings. Gave up a bunch of runs in his first outing. Yeah, you can see every now and then the wind making McDougald's shirt shake a bit. The lights are not only of major league caliber, they're far from that, but they're also towering lights. Up the middle, Ellis is on it to make the play to Bailey, and we have 1 away. The Dodger upcoming television schedule, in case you're interested, as you see the well bundled up people, it'll be Cleveland on the 24th, and then the Dodgers will go to Anaheim on the 2nd, and then host the Angels on the 3rd and the 4th. And on the 3rd, that game will be on KCAL 9. One away here in the 6th inning, a 1-1 tie. Another ground ball to the right side. Mark Ellis is busy. Baisley handles the throw. 2 out in the 6th. The crowd is now leaving in droves. I'm not sure if that means they're feeling raindrops, but a lot of folks now are starting to head for cover. And of course, the ballpark, it's not like a baseball park in a big city. It's in the wide open spaces. There is no place to hide when you leave the ballpark to go to your car. No shelter, no place to go. So a lot of folks have decided we better get a jump, although many of them are not leaving. There you can see them heading out. Some are just staying underneath the overhang, trying to ride out what appears to be a stormy bit going to hit the town. That's a strike. Efren Navarro finishing up at first base for Albert Pujols. He was born in Vegas, but Navarro lives in Linwood, so he can always tell the grandkids, I finished up for Pujols. And a ground ball to Baisley. Jeff takes it to the bag. So McDougald gets 3 ground balls, 3 outs. We're going to the bottom of the 6th inning. And we're looking at the ground crew, and I think they're going to stop play. Don Mattingly is talking to the plate umpire, Jim Reynolds, and so they're going to have to unroll and unravel the tarp and get it to cover the infield, and that's not going to be easy trick, not with the wind blowing. So with a big crowd and the umpires, just like in the regular season, trying to get the ball game in, and we will just have to sit and wait. Mike Scioscia, meanwhile, since Mattingly has talked to Reynolds, Mike now wants to talk to him as to the disposition of what we do, how many innings. Last night after 9, that was that. But last night they used a lot of pitchers. In last night's game, for instance, the Dodgers used 6 pitchers. The visiting Giants used 4, and after 10 pitchers and 9 innings, they figured that's it. The crowd was happy enough and left having seen a 3-3 tie. Well, the crowd right now will be asked to wait it out for a while, and it's very hard to wait it out. So they're going to try and get the tarp on the infield. We're waiting for the storm. They're expecting it to be an electrical storm. So what is it they taught us when we were little kids? Whether it's cold or whether it's hot, we'll have weather, whether or not. And we have our hands full of weather here. Over the years, of course, these players starting in the minor leagues play in all kinds of weather. They eventually get to the big leagues, and they have to rely on their experience and adjust. And right now, the umpires, 2 of them, are standing by the Dodger dugout. Mike Scioscia and the members of his squad are following him like ducks on parade. And Mike might be going over to talk to the umpires again. The Dodgers, who were in the dugout, have all run to the clubhouse, which is way back of left field. And the Angels are heading for that area as well. So it's tough on everyone, the players, the umpires, and especially the fans. Did they get their money's worth? Well, I'm not sure. They saw 5 innings of good play and a 1-1 tie. They saw Albert Pujols get a base hit, and they certainly came to see him. And they saw Herron pitch a perfect game for the first 4 innings. So we're waiting, and the storm is getting here, and we'll be back after this. It was just too tough for everybody concerned, the players, the umpires, and especially the fans. So that'll do it for us for now. From all of us at rain-soaked, windy, and cold Camelback Ranch, we wish you all a very pleasant Sunday afternoon.